All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back with another video, Knowledge Nexus. We're doing economics again today. It's on the economics. Now we're still on the topic circular flow, but this one is the multiplier. The multiplier in the circular flow. Now, what is the multiplier? It is a number that multiplies or increases another number. Now the multiplier is denoted by a sign K. In economics, it is denoted by a sign K. You can replace the multiplier with a sign K, or if you feel that you're smart, or if you feel that you can memorize this one, it would be a Greek sign alpha. But I would just recommend that you stick with K because it's more easier and it's easy to remember. Now the multiplier is built on the fact that one person's expenditure becomes another person's income, and when that income goes to that person, it becomes an expenditure, because that person obviously spends the money that he gets or she gets on their personal needs, which is an expenditure, which goes to someone else again as an income, and also becomes an expenditure when that someone else spends their money. I don't know if this is the best explanation. What I'm simply saying is that let's just make an example. Like, let's say John has money. John just got paid, right? And when John got paid, he went to spend that money on a phone, and then obviously someone is giving him a phone, and then he's spending that money, which is an income to someone who sold him the phone. And that someone who sold John the phone tries to spend that money on something else again, and so on and so on and so on. Now the multiplier size is determined by a household's marginal decision to spend, which is we usually just call it MPC, the marginal propensity to consume. Usually this is the money that a consumer spends to satisfy their needs. Let's say a consumer receives 10,000 per month, so then they decide to spend 8,000. That is the marginal propensity to consume, which is MPC. It also determined by a household's decision to save, known as marginal propensity to save. Now, it's more or less the same thing. But then, obviously, as we know that you do not save more money than you spend on your needs. So obviously, you spend more, and then you save less. Let's say you spend 80% of your salary, and then you save 20% of your salary. Now, if you look at the top over there, you can see there are two formulas there. There's some things written in small words there. You can see that there's a first formula on the top left corner, which is 1 is divided by 1 minus MPC, and the one on the top right corner is change in Y, which is income, and change in J, which is injection. You see the triangle there simply means change. The triangle simply means change. I don't know if you do pure maths. I think pure maths and physics, yeah, you will know what that sign means. So that is the formula of calculating the multiplier. So basically you say K is equals to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC, or you can say K is equals to change in income divided by change in injection. Now the multiplier can be applied everywhere, literally everywhere. It can be on a business that wants to buy something, or the business that is starting a new project. You can also apply it on your household when they're trying to invest on something, and usually it is used on the government. Now let's just say the government is planning to build a stadium, or is planning to renovate the FNB stadium. So that is when they calculate that is when they use the multiplier to calculate the benefits and how much the investment will cost. Now, the multiplier effect. The multiplier effect simply means the outcome of the multiplier. The outcome, what will happen? Will it be positive or negative? Simply means that what will come at the end. Now, let me just give you a full definition of the multiplier. The multiplier is an economic effect in which a rise in expenditure results in a substantial increase in gross national income and consumption larger than the initial expenditure. Now, basically, the multiplier effect is bigger than the initial amount. Let's just say the principal amount is bigger because it has been multiplied using the multiplier. This is the multiplier effect. Now, you must remember that there's a difference between the multiplier and the multiplier effect. The multiplier is the number that you use to multiply in order to get the multiplier effect. I hope you understand that, but don't worry, we'll make some examples using a graph in a matter of minutes as soon as we're done explaining this. Now, the proportional rise or decline in final income that ultimately resulted from an expenditure ejection or withdrawal. What I'm simply trying to say is a rise in spending leads to a rise in the outcome. You know, if you spend more and then there'll be a bigger outcome, it's more like an investment, but not exactly as an investment. Let me just say a rise in a national level of spending. Let's just say a government spends more, right? It leads to higher gross domestic product. Which means if the government spends more, you know that expenditure in economics, expenditure is an injection. So if the government spends more money, it means that the economy is going to have a higher and increased gross domestic product GDP. While a decline in spending, in government spending, it leads to a decline in gross domestic product. Similarly, it just goes vice versa, vice versa, vice versa, vice versa. You have to understand that the things that can cause a rise in the gross domestic product are injections. Injections are expenditure, government expenditure. What's that? So it's government spending, investments, and exports. You know that if a country sells more exports, which means it's getting paid more in their currency than imports. When a country exports more, it means it gets more money than it imports more. If a country gets more imports, it means that it's losing money. The money is going out of the economy. I think you understand that better if I say it like that. The money is moving out of the economy if the country gets more imports. This is called a deficit. We will talk about it more in the topic of international trade. Now, as I said, I want to talk about the difference between the multiplier and the multiplier effect. As I said before, the multiplier and the multiplier effect is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Now, the multiplier is just basically a number that multiplies the initial amount. It is a number that multiplies the initial amount, while the multiplier effect is it refers to the rise in final income that results from any additional expenditure. The multiplier effect depends on the multiplier. The multiplier effect depends on the injection. If the government does more injection, it means the multiplier effects rise. I don't know if you get my point, but I think that made it clear. If you spend more, the multiplier effect increases. Now I want us to make an example using just a question. Now listen to this question carefully. Now, given that the MPC is 0.8, calculate the multiplier. Now listen, the MPC is 0.8. You should remember guys, that the multiplier is 100%. Let's just say when you get your income, it's 100%, right? When you get your income, it's 100%. But obviously you divide your money from savings and consumption. You divide that money. You save less and you consume more. Let's say, so given that the MPC is 0.8, which means that you're spending more. What do you remember? MPC is marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume simply means that the money that you'll be spending on your needs. Which means that if we have the MPC as 0.8, it simply means that the MPS, marginal propensity to save, is 0.2, because 100% is also equivalent to 1. I think everyone knows that the 100% is also equivalent to 1. So this is in decimal form. This is percentage in decimal form. So now, to just find out that what is the multiplier, here's what we do. We simply go to our formula. What is our formula? Formula is K, which is the multiplier, is equals to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. Now what is our MPC here? Our MPC is 0.8. Now if you look at it, it's simply, obviously you start by subtracting 0.8 from 1, so it will be 1 minus 0.8. Now 1 minus 0.8 is simply 0.2. So now we go down and we say K is equals to 1 divided by 0.2, because 1 minus 0.8 is equals to 0.2. Now if you say K is equals to 1 divided by 0.2, we simply get 5. Now 5 is our multiplier. Why did I say 5 is our multiplier? 0.2 gets into 1 5 times, because 1 is a percentage, it's a full percentage, 100%. Let's just say 20% gets into 100 5 times. That is our multiplier. Our multiplier is 5. Now I want us to look at the graph, and I want us to calculate the multiplier. I want us to find the multiplier by interpreting the graph, by looking at the graph and finding some numbers on the graph. Now if you look at it on the graph, the horizontal side, which is written aggregate output, we can also call it income. We can just write income down there. And the vertical side, which is written aggregate expenditure, you can just call it expenditure, but I'll just say it's fine like that. Aggregate output, you can call it income. Now if you remember, we talked about it earlier, the formula, which is the multiplier is equals to change in income divided by change in injections, right? So change in income divided by change in injection, change y, and divided by change j. You remember that? I think you do remember that. Now how do we find change? That is the question. How do we find change? Let's take that aggregate output. You see that the amount moves from 400 to 1000. The amount moved from 400 to 1000. The change is the number in between. Change is number in between. How do we find it? 1000 minus 400. which is 600. That is our change. Please write it down. 1000 minus 400, which is 600. I mean, which is 600. Now we go to the other side again. Since our formula is A is change in Y, change in income divided by change in injections. So we go to the expenditure. We all know that expenditure is an injection. So now we just say we just look for the change again, which is 500 minus 200, which is 300. Right. In that case, we just divide. We just simply divide 600 divided by 300, which gives you 2. So 2 is your multiplier. Your multiplier is 2. From then, how do we find the multiplier effect? After finding the multiplier, we simply just say income times the multiplier. Our multiplier is 2, right? So then change in income is 600. So you simply say 600 times 2, which is 1,200 billion, because those figures are in billion. That is the multiplier effect. Now I want us to talk about the relationship or in the multiplier. The relationships in the multiplier. You have to understand that the higher the MPC, the higher the multiplier effect. Let's just say, if I think I talked about it earlier, when you spend more, the multiplier effect is more. When the government government expenditure is high, the national the GDP of the economy also increases. That is the relationship. So MPC, when it is high, also the multiplier effect is high. Listen to this. When the MPC, marginal propensity to consume, is high, the multiplier effect also it is high. When the MPC is low, the multiplier effect is also low. Here's the vice versa. When the MPS, marginal propensity to save, when it is high, which means the multiplier effect it is low. Why am I saying that? Obviously, the money needs to circulate in the economy. When the money is being saved, which means the money is reserved, it's not working. So there is no injection. You have to remember that saving, it's actually considered as a leakage. So the higher the savings, the lower the multiplier effect. Please remember that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand this topic. If you don't understand anything, feel free to ask some questions on the comment section, and we'll also check our number or WhatsApp number on our channel description, so that you make sure that you get much more help from us. We know that economics sometimes it can be very challenging. Trust me, I know. I've seen it and I've experienced it for a while, but then I got help from the right people, which is why I feel that it is good to share and it is good to also help others. Now, see you on the next video.